Story recapped here. Today, I'm going to explain a horror, sci-fi, and thriller film called Replace. Spoilers ahead, watch out and take care. One night, Kira goes back home with Jonas to his apartment, where they spend a night together. But the next day, she wakes up by herself, feeling sad for being left alone. She calls her friend Martha to talk about the night she spent with Jonas. However, Martha hangs up on Kira, thinking she was making it up. While going home, Kira finds herself back in what she thinks to be Jonas's apartment. In the bathroom, Kira notices a patch of skin on her fingers starting to dry up. As she looks around the apartment, she sees a child playing in one of the rooms, but then disappears. After looking around for a while, Kira gets more confused, so she dials Jonas's number. When she gets no answer, she dials her home number only to hear the apartment's phone ring, with the voicemail tone saying it's her home. Suddenly, she finds a photo of her and Jonas together. Inside the bathroom, Kira starts peeling the skin on her finger, bothered by the drying that's going on. But when she puts the skin back, she notices that it adheres back quickly. A few moments later, Kira hears a knocking on the door and checks on it, only to see an old woman, Martha, her friend. However, before she could answer the door, she stumbles back. Once she's able to go outside, Martha is gone and she's greeted by her neighbor, Sophia. She starts passing out, so Sophia assists her back into her apartment. Turns out, Sophia hasn't moved in that long, so they start getting to know each other. Kira is a professional pianist, while Sophia is studying Chinese linguistics. Afterward, Kira asks her about Jonas, but Sophia becomes confused, not knowing anyone named Jonas. Furthermore, all she knows is that Kira is the one living in the apartment and has never seen Jonas before. Just then, Sophia notices Kira's hand, so Kira starts to get upset. Because of this, Sophia comforts her. Later, Kira remembers a memory of talking to Jonas when she was stating how she didn't want to grow old. That night, she meets up with Sophia again, who advises her to see a doctor. Weirdly enough, Kira says she found a doctor's note about it but doesn't remember making the appointment. When they clink their glasses together, Kira accidentally breaks Sophia's wine glass, who then injures her foot with the broken glass. When Kira notices a patch of skin fall from Sophia's injured foot, she takes it to the bathroom and connects it to her skin, only to realize that it solves the problem in her hand. The next day, Kira bandages her worsening hand and calls to see a doctor. At the office, she consults with Dr. Krober, who inspects her hand. However, Kira recognizes Krober despite not having no recollection of meeting her. On the other hand, Krober notices Kira experiencing short-term memory loss because she has been there before. After the examination, Krober tells Kira that her skin is rapidly aging and dying at an extreme rate. Immediately, Kira asks whether a transplant is possible, but Krober tells her that they can't rush into it because they must know the cause first. So, Kira shows Krober how her skin adheres back to its own despite being removed. Although fascinated at first, Krober advises her not to do that and to simply wait for the test results. Still, Kira is desperate for a cure. Because Krober can't promise her anything yet, she just prescribes painkillers to Kira. However, when Kira goes to the pharmacy to buy medicine, the pharmacist is confused because the medicine is for cell rejuvenation. Nonetheless, she gives Kira the pills. That night, Kira goes to the hospital for another doctor's opinion on her condition. However, the doctor just tells her to trust Krober's process. Due to desperation, Kira goes down to the morgue to steal a dead body's skin to heal herself, but it doesn't adhere and just falls off. Suddenly, a guard catches sight of her, but she's able to escape. Then, Kira calls Krober, but she's just told to wait again. With nothing else left to do, Kira starts drowning her sorrows with alcohol, alongside the prescription pills. But then, she feels compelled to corner the waitress, knocking her out before stealing her skin. This time, she's able to properly replace her own skin, so she takes the opportunity to take more of the waitress's skin. The next day, Kira is relieved to see that her skin condition is gone, so Sophia curiously pries. But knowing the morbid steps she took to cure herself, Kira tries to evade Sophia's inquiries. But when Sophia notices Kira goes quiet, she starts apologizing for her behavior, then the two kiss. Back at Krober's office, the doctor tells her that the tests are undetermined, so she must wait longer. Because of this, Krober advises her to come back more frequently. That night, while Sophia and Kira are spending some time together, Kira becomes agitated because Sophia has done nothing but ask about her skin condition, so Kira walks away. The next day, Kira's condition spread further into her legs. When she starts walking around the apartment, she sees a vision of Jonas sleeping with someone else. Later on, Kira goes to a club to find her next unfortunate victim, not knowing Sophia's watching closely behind. When she comes across an alone woman, Kira immediately takes her out by slashing her ankles and choking her, which Sophia witnesses. After finishing what she came for, Kira leaves the bar, only to encounter Sophia. Kira then accuses Sophia of following her, but she feigns innocence. That night, Kira dreams of seeing an old version of herself in the mirror. She immediately checks her skin when she wakes up, only to feel it drying up again. The next day, she sees a police car outside their apartment building, then feels relieved when she sees them taking someone else. Back in her place, Sophia comes by saying she misses Kira, so she welcomes Sophia in. However, Sophia is blissfully unaware of Kira's captive in her bathtub. Kira asks Sophia to check for any drying skin on her back. Afterward, Sophia apologizes for their fight again. So, the two kiss and make up, but Kira feels like they're rushing into things. Because of the new patches of dry skin on her back, Kira sends Sophia away, telling her that she's going back to Krober. When she sees Krober, she gets the news that they might have found a cure. However, they need a few more days before starting the treatment. But Kira is already desperate to get better. With curiosity filling her, Kira sneaks back inside the office to steal her file from Krober. But when she gets home, she sees that her victim has tried to escape. Immediately, she cleans up the trace in a rush, only to be surprised by Sophia's sudden presence knocking on her door. So, Kira drops a bottle of wine to mask the blood. Furthermore, she starts kissing Sophia to distract her and goes to her place instead. There, she confesses her memory loss and that she stole from Krober. She starts going through the file with Sophia's support. There, she learns that she's a test subject to Krober's research into creating an extended lifespan. She sees her real old self on tape, agreeing to be part of the experiment. Furthermore, she sees that the procedure has been successful for her and that she has turned back to her youthful appearance despite being 64 years old. Despite learning this, Sophia still lovingly accepts who she is. Aside from that, Kira learns that she has a daughter, but can no longer remember her. Not wanting to succumb to Krober, Kira suggests running away together. So she tells Sophia to pack her bags before she starts taking care of her apartment. Inside, she checks the picture of her daughter and calls the phone number behind it. Although her daughter answered, Kira couldn't say anything. Furthermore, she comes across the vision of the little girl again, a memory of her daughter as a child. The ghost of her past, the little girl and Jonas, follow her around the apartment as she spreads gasoline. After setting fire to her room, she sets out with Sophia to track down the other test subjects. However, they can't find anyone, all presumably dead or missing. With nothing else left to do, Kira just visits her daughter, only to see that she already has a granddaughter. When the little girl sees her drying skin, she screams and alerts her mother. However, Kira couldn't bring it in her to confront her past, so she runs away. Noticing her worsening condition, Sophia tells her to go back to Krober, but Kira doesn't want to be a test subject anymore. But suddenly, Sophia confesses that she actually works for Krober as a biochemist, lying about her backstory in Chinese linguistics. Furthermore, she was paid a lot of money to watch over Kira. Aside from that, she drugged Kira's water so she could bring her back to Krober. A while later, Kira wakes up strapped to Krober's laboratory, seeing the other test subject beside her. All the while, Krober expresses regret for letting the test subjects roam free, especially when Kira's crimes could be traced back to her. Frustrated, Kira asks her reasons, but Krober points out that she willingly let herself be a test subject. Although Kira was the most successful test subject, her memory loss was one of the side effects that prevented her from being perfect. On the other hand, Krober is intrigued by how Kira's body can accept new skin so perfectly, so they start examining her body. Then, Krober starts carving out her skin to try new methods for rejuvenation. Additionally, Krober scolds her for being so reckless with taking other people's skin, pointing out her extreme vanity. Whilst the experiment is taking place, Sophia suddenly comes to her aid, hoping to set her free. Turns out, she didn't know that Krober would use her as a test subject again, only ill-informed about an alleged cure. So, she starts setting Kira free, going against Krober. However, Krober justifies her stand, knowing that she's doing groundbreaking research that will change the world. Furthermore, she reminds Sophia that Kira willingly wanted to become younger. While Sophia tries to unchain Kira, Krober creeps up behind Sophia, preparing to take her out. Although Kira notices this, she's too sedated to move around much. When Krober injects the liquid into Sophia, Kira starts grabbing the tank connected to her bed. After Sophia struggles away from Krober, Kira smacks her with the tank and is able to knock her out. Slowly, she finishes Krober by choking her down. Afterward, Kira checks on Sophia's condition, but Sophia points out that Krober probably only used saxinalcholine. Although Sophia wants to leave, Kira starts becoming obsessive and wants to take Krober's skin. However, Sophia makes her promise to stop. Then, they try taking the emergency exit to escape. However, the building has gone on a full-on lockdown. When one of the workers spots the two, Kira immediately goes to stab her to death. Although Sophia wants to stop her, she can no longer move. Because of Sophia's worsening condition, Kira sets her down somewhere so they can get an antidote. Sophia doesn't think it'll kill her. As she walks around to find a cure for Sophia, she stabs a guard to procure a gun. Then, she corners 2 workers to ask for an antidote. However, they tell her that there's no antidote because it's simply a muscle relaxant and not lethal. Unsatisfied with the answer she got, 2 gunshots go off as Kira kills the workers. Without success in finding something to help Sophia, Kira just goes back to her with worker uniform so they can escape better. But Sophia knows that Kira broke her promise of not killing other people. Although the 2 want to be together, Sophia's left with no choice but to shoot Kira because she's become too obsessed with her own skin.
Subscribe to watch more videos like this. Turn on notifications. And leave a like, it really helps the channel out. Thank you for watching.